All right, everybody, welcome to week 14 of Top 5 or Everything. This week we're covering the top 5 sidekicks of all time. We're joined by our special guest, a sidekick to no one, Miss Allison Thompson. So, Allie, you've held several sidekicks through the years, making you probably the most qualified panelist on the show. Was there anything specific, any specific criteria you're looking for when you're coming up with your top 5?
Definitely ones that I went with movies because I watched a lot of movies, so definitely characters that I can somewhat relate to and keep going back to.
All right, it's pretty good criteria. Let's start you off with number 5. We're going to start off with the guest as always. So, Allie, why don't you start us off with your number 5?
All right, my number 5 is Mr. Steve Stifler from the American Pie series, because even though he is probably, are we allowed to curse on this?
Of course.
Yeah.
Mom, I apologize if you see this on Facebook, but Steve is the biggest asshole in the whole series, but at the end of the day, he comes through for everybody in a pinch, which I can relate to, having, been an asshole at some certain points in my life, but when my friends say, hey, I need you, I'm there. No questions asked.
Ronnie?
Yeah, I love Steve Stifler. He was the funniest part of those movies. I don't know what happened to the actor, Sean William Scott. Sort of fell off a bridge. But he did some other funny movies where he pretty much played the same person. Maybe that's why he...
Goon, man, Goon.
Yeah, I was going to say, Goon was pretty good.
Yeah, Role Models, I like that, Paul Rudd. Yeah, that's a good one. He was funny in the American Pie ones, and I don't know if he was a sidekick, but that's a good pick.
Yeah, I'm all on board on this. I think that this is a great pick. Mainly because you always need that person to get the party going, you know what I mean? And he's, and sometimes it's the person that you're I don't, later on you're I wish that person wasn't here. Mm-hmm. But they're the ones that kind of got everything together and got it started. So, you know what I mean? Much props. I didn't even, that's an outside the box, and I think a great number 5.
Yeah, I totally agree. Great number 5. He's totally a sidekick, Ronnie. I mean, those 4 other douchebags were the main characters, so he was the side element that's coming into it. And I mean, it showed how much everyone loved him that they made him an integral part of the movies and wrote off those other stupid people, that Chris Klein and stuff like that. He wasn't even in the 3rd one. And
yeah, but they brought him back for the 4th one. I guess he needed to make some money, so they brought him back.
I didn't even know there was 4 American Pies, to be honest.
I told you I watch a lot of movies.
Yeah, but Steve Stifler is a good one for number 5. So we're going to head over to Ronnie's number 5, see if he can keep it up.
All right, my number 5 is one of the most powerful of sidekicks. It's the Roundhouse Sidekick. You know what the roundhouse is. You got to get elevated. You spin, you use torque, so there's a lot of centrifugal force, and you strike the opponent on the side of the head. If you're an avid MMAer like I am, I'm pretty much the number 1 MMA watcher in the world. You've seen the roundhouse, and if you're as cool as me, you've landed a few. It's against a tree, and maybe I hurt my foot, but it's a devastating move and probably my favorite sidekick.
One of the best outside the box picks that Ronnie's ever made on this show. It finally worked for him. I actually, with my right leg, used to be able to kick somebody in the head, but I couldn't do the spinning part of it. Ryan definitely kicked Martin Scholes in the head, I think, at least once, trying to do that kick. I think that's a very solid number 5 outside, even more outside than the box than I would have thought, and that would work. So congrats, Ronnie. Good job.
Thanks, Danny.
Allie?
My 11-year-old is a brown senior in karate, so having been the one to hold the pad up so she can do a roundhouse, I fully support that. That's a solid number 5.
Ronnie, fantastic thinking on your part.
Thanks, Ryan.
Roundhouse is a devastating move. I've kicked Martin Scholes in the face using it. I've kicked Chip Beamer in the face using it. I've kicked Justin Lappin in the face using it. one of the most devastating kicks of all time. I remember this guy once tried to use it to kick a ceiling, but he failed miserably because it was a roundhouse kick, not an up kick, stupid. So, fantastic number 5, Ronnie.
Thanks, guys.
So, Danny, we're gonna go to you.
Yeah, that's gonna be hard to follow. A couple of good picks to start it off. I'm a little bit nervous actually, but I feel like I have a good number 5. And if you watch a lot any TV, you'll recognize that my number 5 is Willow Rosenberg. That's right. She's a great compliment to Buffy in Buffy the Vampire Slayer. It's a great combination. Okay, got she's the brains, and then you got the brawn with Buffy, and she becomes a powerful witch by the end, and basically just as strong as Buffy, I feel like, and really probably stronger. So I had to go with a very strong woman in my top 5. Especially one that I feel like carried a lot of the storyline. I mean, she was a big part of it every week. Great sidekick for me. Willow comes in my number 5.
Danny, liking the number 5 as well. Great number 5. You're right. I think she was more powerful than Buffy at the end. I mean, Buffy just had that physical strength. She can't do magic or anything like that. No. I mean, she went out with a werewolf, Seth Green. So I'm liking the number 5.
And I like it because she's a redhead. So I'm with you 100%.
Yeah. I mean, I guess we're sticking with American Pie. It's the girl from American Pie. I don't think I've ever seen Buffy or expected to reference American Pie this many times in the podcast. I believe you guys. I didn't watch the series. I'm sorry. I watched the movie with Christy Swanson. That movie was cool, but there was no redheaded chick, so I can't comment.
All right, well, great first round of number 5s. I'm going to try to top it off with my number 5 of Dink the Clown.
Oh, my God.
I mean, let's just start off with this picture. I mean, I've never been this happy in my life. I mean, this is the happiness these two best buds just get by just posing in the picture together. I mean, what a team these two were. I mean, you know how many matches Dink won for Doink? 164. I mean, Doink would have been considered a complete joke if it wasn't for Dink. I mean, he was always there to step in and shoot someone with water, deliver a pie to the face when, somebody needed it. A real selfless hero and one of the greatest sidekicks of all time. Allie, any thoughts on Dink?
I fucking hate clowns. So that's my thoughts. I have no idea what you're talking about, and I've probably avoided it just because I've had a deep-seated fear of clowns since early childhood. So no more thoughts at this time.
Some hatred on my number 5. Ronnie.
Ryan, this is a great pick. Dink the Clown. There is no Doink the Clown without Dink the Clown. I remember the Doink the Clown, character was getting stale until they brought Dink out, and then he reached the zenith of the WWF at the time, WWE. He was probably their most prominent superstar. Dink was running around, pretty much what you're saying, winning all the matches for Doink. Unfortunately, he got stuck under Yokozuna that one time, and no one was able to find him again. But great pick. We miss you, Dink. Come back.
Yeah, I'm gonna say that I don't like clowns. I really don't like that picture that much. It kind of freaks me out. However, when you talk about sidekicks, I think he is a great sidekick, and I'm glad that I won't have the only small person on the list. So, good number 5, I guess, to just start it off to get it done.
So, Allie, why don't you take us to your number 4?
All right, number 4, and I'm saying this just because I spent, the last couple of weeks watching a lot of Jackass with my fiance. I'm going to go with Ryan Dunn being a sidekick to Bam Margera. And if you guys ever watched Viva La Bam when it was still on, they were 2 peas in a pod and doing nothing but getting in trouble. And I can just appreciate that attitude and zest for life.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I don't have pictures to back it up.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm gonna have to hate on this pick. I wasn't really big fan of Jackass other than like 1 or 2 episodes.
Mm-hmm.
I stopped watching. From what I remember, they would just like, wasn't there like one time someone went to like a porta potty and they shot it in a catapult or something, and
Yeah.
someone used to get, I like the guy who used to get bit by stuff. That guy was cool.
Steve-O, probably.
The dude, yeah, that dude, Steve-O, and the dude that wore the banana hammock. I don't know why I remember that, but that guy was cool. I don't think that he was either of them though, so
Mm-hmm.
sorry.
Hey, no judgment. Don't worry about it.
I remember him. He was one of the crazier ones. I do remember. I mean, R.I.P. Right? I think he was young too, right? He's like 34
Yeah.
something like that.
Yeah, died in an accident.
Those guys are crazy as hell. I don't know which one of them is the sidekick of who. I guess they're all sidekicks of Johnny Knoxville to some extent. But yeah, no, that is a crazy crew, and Ryan, R.I.P. Ryan Dunn, good number 4.
I'm gonna hate on Ryan. You're fucking done a little bit. I mean, I feel like you could have picked anybody from Jackass and it would have been better than Ryan Dunn. I don't remember anything he's done.
Well, that was just because I watched a lot of Viva La Bam in high school too. So it's all good. You guys are allowed to hate.
Fundamental.
I hated on your pick, so you're allowed to hate on mine. It's all good.
I'm gonna hate a little bit on Ryan Dunn. Steve-O, maybe better pick.
Yeah, probably. Hey, this is my first time. If you guys welcome me back, I'll do better. I promise.
Not over.
It's fine.
Don't worry.
It's your opinions. We're just here to hate.
No, everyone hates on all of my picks all the time, and everyone's gonna hate on my number 4 for sure. So we're gonna hand it over to Ronnie for his number 4.
No one's gonna hate on this number 4. This is a great number 4. One of the best animated sidekicks. I'm gonna go ahead and say he's the best animated sidekick ever. Is none other than the guy that carried the show. Isn't even a guy. It's Donkey.
Yes.
All the Shrek movies, Donkey was the conscience of the movie. If it wasn't for him, Shrek would still be in his stupid ass swamp, being a jerk, farting all the time, eating eyeballs, just being a curmudgeon. Wouldn't have found the love of his life. Donkey carried his ass in the first movie and the second movie, and I think they made a third and fourth movie. I never watched them, but I'm sure Donkey carried him. And of course, he's voice acted by a funnier guy than who voice acted Shrek, Eddie Murphy. So, Donkey, you're great. You don't play second fiddle to Shrek. It's just his movie for some reason. It should be your movie.
Yeah, great pick. Literally was on my list to last minute. Made a last minute change because I think I only watched like one of the Shreks and I like kind of forgot like what to talk about with him. But I think it's a great pick. Obviously, a great dynamic duo there in that movie. I think that movie, like for the people that haven't seen it, it gets it's like underrated. If you haven't seen, you got to see it. It's just a good movie. So good number 4 for sure.
Terrible number 4. I mean, what an annoying character. Like, this should be on the top 5 most annoying sidekicks of all time. Like, I'm just sitting there chilling in my swamp, living my life, doing whatever I want, and this donkey comes along and starts yelling at me in this annoying voice to come out and do some shit. Almost gets me killed a bunch of times. He fucks the dragon. I mean, what's up with that?
That's cool.
It's not cool. Bad number 4. Allie?
I have to agree just because that was my number 2.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's okay. Like I said, I have backups. And yes, he does have, Eddie Murphy is a great actor, but he did a great job making Donkey annoying. But that's what Shrek needed to get out of his shell and get out of his swamp. Because you can't stay home forever.
You can. I'm staying home forever right now. Fantastic.
You just said you're living in Reston. You're not in Berwyn Heights anymore.
It's true.
But he's pretty much there all the time. I'm Ryan's donkey. Me and Ronnie are both Ryan's donkey. We try to get
So
all right, to my number 4.
Yep.
Well, as everyone was talking about hate, I don't get a lot of hate on this show because mine are always the best. Mine are always the best in the top 5, and they're pretty much always the best choices. And this is not going to change with my number 4 here. And yes, everybody, that is Mini-Me.
Damn
That's
it.
Frank Troyer right there. Hey, talk about a sidekick. Man, that guy was brutal. I loved him. He was much more of a badass than I'm sorry. I just think a couple of lines when I see him. That he was much more badass than Dr. Evil, and he just like didn't even talk either. Like he made noises, but he was like some of the most funny parts of the movie. And then afterwards, Vern Troyer went on a like show where it was like, you know, he was with a whole bunch of other. He was like with a Brady Bunch guy or something. Got wasted and had to be carried around like a baby, and he was peeing in the corner, all off of his like a little scooter. It was some of the best entertainment I've ever seen in my life. I want them to bring that back. So yeah, he's my number 4, Mini-Me, number 4 for Sidekicks.
I mean, if you get put in the Eminem song for pissing in the corner, I mean, you're definitely a great sidekick. I mean, he definitely had some of the most funny moments in Austin Powers. I remember watching Austin Powers with Danny and him stopping the movie and rewinding it over and over again for him to watch him humping the laser. And Danny would just sit there and laugh his ass off for 10 minutes at a time.
Oh my God.
Danny's laugh alone makes it good enough for me. So good number 5. Allie, any thoughts on Mini-Me?
He was my number 3, so I'm really glad that I have references. Y'all are knocking it out of the park.
There you
And
go.
clearly we have similar tastes.
Yeah. I think this is a good pick. You know, the Austin Power movies were really great. Mini-Me, I think, was in the second one, right? He went in the first one, but
Yeah, it came in the second one.
Yeah.
It's sort of like the second one was more popular than the first one. I think a lot of it's because of the Mini-Me sort of jokes. And originally they had Mr. Bigglesworth be the sidekick, but that cat sucked. So they brought in Mini-Me.
Get that cat out of here.
Yeah, get that cat out of here. And Mini-Me did his job. I mean, he almost took out Austin Powers. I think he got thrown out into space or something like that, but he came back, I think. I don't know. Maybe
I think
not.
he was in Goldmember too. I think.
Yeah, I think so. But yeah, I like that. It's a good pick. I didn't even think about that.
All right. So we'll move on to my number 5. Four, sorry. My number 4, which of course is Sancho Panza from Don Quixote. Now, he's got to be one of the OGs of sidekicks of all time. And Danny, I know you hate reading, but this book actually addresses the dangers of reading and how it can dry out your brain. These even have some book burning in there, so it's got something for everybody. I mean, Sancho is level-headed, while Don Quixote is a maniac. And I mean, who of us cannot relate to Sancho? I mean, I think we've all been in similar situations where our friend has had too much to drink and he's trying to fight a windmill or some shit. I mean, I know I've led Danny, Ronnie, and probably several of our listeners on wild adventures, but I've also been on the other side of the coin, and those are some of my all-time favorite moments. So Sancho, for always keeping his cool, always staying loyal, always my number 4, Sancho Panza. Allie, any thoughts on Don Quixote?
Nope. I hate reading too. I remember reading it in elementary school, but outside of that, and wasn't there a cartoon, Don Quixote, like on Saturday morning for a little bit? But yeah, you got me on that one.
Your mother's a teacher and you hate reading?
Oh, she's a vice principal now. And I hate reading, and she's known this since she taught us first grade.
Man. Ronnie, any thoughts?
I don't remember. I read Don Quixote back in the day, but it was back in the day. I'm not anti-book. Like, Danny's about to go off. I can see him bubbling, about to go off on reading. I think there was a movie version of Don Quixote before, but I don't think I've ever seen it. You're right, though. He is the original sidekick. I can't even think of a sidekick before Don Quixote. So I think it's a good pick, Ryan. Good job.
Thanks, Ronnie.
Yeah. Here we go again with this reading business. Every week, gotta talk about, oh, let's read another, 500-page book, yo. Who's got time for that?
It's 1,200 pages.
Even worse, what? You know what I'm saying? I can't get that time back. I'm just saying, and I do remember though, but on a real note with saying like a sidekick, even in the Cliff Notes, if you're old enough, or Spark Notes, I guess maybe, they did make him out as a pretty funny character and a pretty good sidekick. And I actually knew the reference, and me knowing the reference from a book is pretty good, so I'll give you that at number 4.
All right. A little less hate than I thought. So, Allie, do you have replacement number 3, or do you have anything else you want to say?
Yes, I do have a replacement number 3. All right. From my all-time favorite movie, and it goes in perfectly with the fact that I work with the military, Mr. Goose to Maverick in Top Gun. Like, by his side, no matter what, through and through, thick and thin, even though he does die in the movie. But yeah, no matter what, with all of his Maverick's antics, Goose is by his side and loyal to the end.
Yeah, I'm going to have to disagree with this. Goose didn't even make it to the end of the movie. He died.
But do you have to make it to the end for it to be a good sidekick relationship?
Yeah, you do. His chute didn't deploy or something.
His head hit the top of the, I don't know the technical term, but he hit it on his way out.
Or whatever, yeah. I mean, when you're Tom Cruise's sidekick, you got to be perfect. I mean, this man's a master of acting. He's a master of Scientology. And, Val Kilmer was close. Val Kilmer was in that movie too, and he was pretty cool. So, maybe a little Iceman action there, but, they're making another Top Gun. I know that, and I know for sure they ain't bringing back Goose.
No, they are not. But that's
it just makes me sad to talk about Goose. I don't know.
Aww.
I just, just thinking back on the movie, sad moment. So I'm just gonna pass.
Fantastic pick, Allie. Goose was the man. He had the coolest nickname. And I mean, who can forget that volleyball scene? I mean, who didn't pop a boner watching that scene with Goose and Maverick? I mean, all-time best scene in any movie ever. Fantastic number 3.
Thanks, Ryan.
Problem. Ron?
All right. Guess we're up to my number 3. My number 3 needs no introduction. And yes, I'm talking about Han Solo as Chewie's sidekick. Chewbacca is like 500 years old. He's the master warrior of his race, which is now just down to like him and one other person, which are other Wookiees somewhere in the world. He saves Han Solo's ass countless numbers of times. Han Solo gets frozen in carbonite. Who helps Luke concoct a plan to get this jerk out? Chewie. Who was with Yoda on the Battle of Kashyyyk against the Imperial forces before the Empire took over? Chewie. Han Solo was nowhere to be found. Chewie has been a survivor since day one. He's in every single Star Wars movie, I think. I think he's like one of 2 characters. He's like in every single one. He's unstoppable. They finally give him Leia is like completely racist against him in the first movie, A New Hope. Doesn't give him a medal, but then they give him one in The Rise of Skywalker, which is a terrible movie, but at least it had Chewie in it and not Han Solo. And also, the biggest number 1, Han Solo, in true sidekick form, just like Goose, dies in a completely moronic way, trying to save his dipshit son who he didn't raise right. And of course, Chewie was there to watch it all, seeing his sidekick die, and eventually takes revenge on Kylo Ren. So, Han Solo, you're a great sidekick to Chewie, but you're not Chewie.
Yeah. I don't know if we've talked on this podcast about how much I hate Star Wars in general. I guess like the first 3 were like okay, I guess. And then after that, like I tried to watch a couple of those early ones, and then like I know everyone loves them, just like the Beatles. You know what I'm saying? I'm not a Beatles person either. You know what I mean? I'm known to get all the hate. Send that hate mail to Drew Brees, not to me, baby. But yeah, I mean, I'm not a big Star Wars person. If you would have said Chewbacca, I would have said it would be a great number 3. But I mean, who cares? Han Solo, whatever. They're all the same character to me. So,
Allie, any thoughts on Han Solo?
I'm with Danny on this. I live in a household full of Star Wars fans. I have always thought Chewie just looked like a big, tall thing of shag carpet, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to lose family members on that one. But I'm not a Star Wars person.
I mean, I'm just a little confused at who we're talking about because you said Han Solo, but then you talked about Chewie for 5 minutes. And you kind of discredit Han Solo. You said he's your number 3 sidekicks, but you just shit all over him for 5 minutes.
Yeah, because Chewie's better. The sidekick's always worse.
Han Solo, fantastic sidekick. Ronnie, great pick. Him shooting Guido first was one of the best scenes in Star Wars. Han shot first. You heard it here. He can go a Mach 3 and something. 10 kilobytes.
11.1 parsecs.
Yeah, that's right. Something like that.
Yeah.
So, he got the girl, not even the main character.
He's just Chewie's translator. I mean, that's all he is.
Why are you hating on your number 3? I'm trying to back you up.
I'm not hating on him. I'm just saying he's not as good as Chewie. Everyone needs to understand that.
No, he's not. He's better than Luke, though, who's the main character, because he got the girl.
Luke sucks.
Yeah,
Luke's horrible.
Great number 3, I think, Ronnie.
Thanks, Ryan.
So,
all right, let's get everyone back on here and track a little bit, back in the groove here, everybody, for a perfect number 3 instead of a whack number 3 like Ronnie just had. Yep, that right there.
DJ? No.
It's Hit Girl. I don't know if you guys can see it yet.
Yeah.
You guys see that? Yep. So, Hit Girl is also known as Chloe Grace Moretz, I think is how you say her last name, from the movie Kick-Ass. She is I know that the movie's called Kick-Ass, but she is the badass in that movie. She is the superhero. This is one of only 2 movies that Nicolas Cage can get any credit for doing a decent job in, because he's the dad of her in the movie. And then for Con Air. Okay, Con Air was good, but otherwise he sucks. But she's great in the movie. Amazing how much she saves the main character. And no one can know who she is, of course, but a huge help to Kick-Ass, and actually a really good movie. So, number 3, Hit Girl.
Danny, great pick. Great number 3, underrated movie, definitely. I mean, she's like what Robin from Batman should be if Robin wasn't such a stupid penis. I mean,
yeah,
she's an expert martial arts. She can use any weapons. She's a vigilante. I mean, you mentioned that Nicolas Cage is her dad, which makes her automatically cool because Nicolas Cage is the coolest. I mean, fantastic number 3. Okay, you cunts, let's see what you can do. Not calling anyone a cunt. That's actual Hit Girl line. It's a line from Hit Girl.
I've never seen the movie, so I don't have any opinions on it, except I would have said Nicolas Cage was better in Gone in 60 Seconds than in Con Air. But I don't want to get us off course.
Yeah, that's a whole different podcast.
That's a whole other podcast. But yeah, no thoughts on this one. I haven't seen the movie.
Ryan's is a fantastic pick.
My pick.
Danny's is a fantastic pick. No one going into that movie thought a little girl could be a murderous superhero like that. Going around killing dudes and very violently doing it. And the movie itself was very groundbreaking, I guess you could say. It's a little more graphic than I think people were expecting. They were expecting sort of like a hero comedy type thing, and instead they got like a really action-packed, like kind of semi-serious type thing. And it was a good one. Wasn't there some crazy Russian lady that she killed? Was it that one or like the second super whatever?
I thought it might be the second one. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's the dad of it's the dad of the guy from Superbad is the first one.
Okay, yeah. So she was in that too, and she like destroyed that Russian lady. It was kind of crazy. So yeah, good pick. I like it.
Yeah, didn't she fight the Russian lady from Dodgeball in that movie?
Yeah, I think Jim Carrey was in that one too, right?
Yeah. Well, we'll get into my number 3. So for all you N64 fans out there, you're gonna know exactly who I'm talking about. And of course, I'm talking about Peppy Hare from Star Fox, the only member of the Star Fox team with any redeemable qualities. I mean, Falco is an ungrateful, sarcastic asshole. Slippy is totally worthless, but he can always fall back on good old Peppy. I mean, he's always there to give you great advice, like when the best time to do a barrel roll is. I mean, I feel like he's a way better leader than Star Fox is. Whenever I was controlling Star Fox, I was letting Slippy die and shooting down Falco for being a dick. And I mean, Peppy would never do that. I mean, so if we're playing Star Fox multiplayer, you know I'm coming after the second controller just so I can play as my boy Peppy, my number 3 sidekick. Allie, any thoughts on Peppy Hare?
When you said N64, I immediately went to Mario Kart, so I'm going to have to sit this one out.
No Star Fox. Oh.
Nope.
Yeah, Ryan's.
We didn't have an N64 in our house. So, yeah, I was a deprived child.
Sounds like it.
He was also on Super Nintendo, the Super Nintendo version of Star Fox. But listen, Peppy is a terrible pick. Peppy's always screaming at me in the beginning levels to do a barrel roll when I don't need to do a barrel roll at all. I got Star Wolf behind me, chasing me down. I got to do one of those loop-de-loops, and he's like, oh, do a barrel roll. I'm like, dude, I don't want to do a barrel roll. Why don't you help me and shoot these other guys? Him and Peppy were worthless. Peppy at least would scream and cry. Or not Peppy, what was the other guy?
Slippy?
Slippy. Slippy would at least scream and cry because someone was shooting at him. Peppy would just not shoot anyone. He would just, like, fly around and not help you at all. Falco, though. Falco was fantastic. That guy is great. Super cool guy. Super great hair or feathers or whatever it was. He really carried the whole team for Star Fox. So I hate this pick. It's terrible. I can't believe you said it. Terrible.
This is a great pick. Game was great. I think Nintendo 64 wise, for me that was probably right up there. For like non-sports games as like games that like I really love to play with like my friends and stuff like that. But I think like you need to have that like veteran voice in a group of people to like keep somewhat of a level head to like keep the mission going in the right direction. You know what I mean? Like if you without him, I feel like you would end. When you got to choose the levels to like where you would have gone, you would have like gone like way out in the middle of outer space and not knowing even where to go because he was the one that came up with all that. You know what I mean? So great number. I think we're number 3 on that. Great number 3. Shout out to N64 for that one.
So that's taking us into Allie's number 2.
All right, number 2. Again, I'm sorry that I don't have visuals. I'm going to go with... Oof. Man, you guys destroyed my list. All right, I'm going to shout out to my favorite show from high school, Friends. Chandler being the sidekick to Joey. Joey's absolutely crazy, irresponsible. Like, watching that show as an adult now, I'm like, how did they just... I don't understand it. But through everything, Chandler is by Joey's side, bailing him out, giving him money, giving him the love and support that you need as an adult, even though you're not fully functioning. But even though Chandler's goofy in and of himself, I choose him as my number 2 sidekick.
Allie, I'm not sure if you've watched previous podcasts, but we all hate Friends. But luckily, you picked the only semi-redeemable character in Friends. I would argue that he is not the sidekick and everyone else is just sidekicks. But Chandler Bing is a real guy. He has real world problems, unlike all the other ones.
Mm-hmm.
He hates Thanksgiving. I forget why. I think his parents got divorced or something. His dad's a cross-dresser, which is all right. I mean, that's cool. But it's something that he struggles with. Whereas everyone else's struggles are like, oh, Rachel puts beef with chocolate and whipped cream. And Ross's struggle is,
that he can't keep
a monkey or dinosaur bones or, we're on a break.
He's married all the time.
Yeah, and Phoebe is just like making songs about cats and trying to get sick so she sounds better. And even his wife, eventual wife, Courtney Cox, I still don't understand how she had that apartment in Manhattan. I don't know how any of them lived in Manhattan other than Chandler, who actually had a corporate job and he's pretty far up. No one really knew what his job was and he was very discreet about it. He didn't show off. He didn't flaunt his money. So it's a great pick. If you had to pick any of them.
Thank you.
Yeah, I don't know what Ronnie's talking about with like people not liking Friends. I think like everyone hates Ross was the general
100%.
consensus with that. It wasn't that they hated Friends. I know I'm in the darkness. I'll change it soon. But I think this is a great pick because I also think that people would kind of consider him a sidekick of Ross too, even though I hate Ross. You know what I mean? Like he's like that third character that kind of like fits like really, really well. Definitely fits, I think fits well into the show. Definitely the like comic relief you need in that show. And I think he also like in real life was doing all kinds of cocaine and stuff. So mad props for coming back from that. Chandler's a great number 2.
Ross is definitely the best character on Friends. So
fuck off. No, he's not.
Definitely the best. So I'm going to hate on Chandler a little bit because I don't think he's a good sidekick. I mean, why do you want a sidekick that's coked up all the time? I mean,
he wasn't coked up on the show. We're not talking about
exciting, baby.
We don't know
Keep
that.
it exciting.
That makes him cooler in my book.
I don't know, man. You see him all running around all the time saying bing, 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 bing. He's definitely a little coked up on that show. I mean, and I don't know. Someone that's coked up that much probably is not that dependable. Probably not going to show up to bust you out of jail. Probably going to steal some of your money.
But
Probably
he's got
a
all the
bad
money.
sidekick.
Out of everybody on that show, he's got the most steady income.
That's not saying a lot for the Friends cast. So I think Ross probably had the most steady income, and with that dinosaur, what did he do? Work at the museum?
He was a doctor.
Yeah, he was a doctor, but then he went crazy and got fired.
Mm-hmm.
Well, don't steer a turkey sandwich. I mean, understandable. So we're going to move it on to Ronnie's number 2.
All right, my number 2, you know it, I know it, and we all love it. Oh, Canada, the sidekick of America. It's even on the side of the biggest U.S. state, Alaska, is Canada. Canada is a great place. It is the founder of poutine, which is fantastic. They took fries to another level. I love poutine. Some great people have come from Canada. Number 1 being, of course, Justin Bieber. But also, don't forget, Sidney Crosby, the greatest hockey player ever. And hockey, in general, was gifted by Canada to its master, the United States, and we stole the NHL. I mean, we purchased the NHL from them. And now we have total control over it. And as the lovable sidekick, Canada just can't seem to win another championship. But what a great place. It's got a lot of land that no one wants to live on, which makes it great for national parks. So Americans go there to see what America used to be like. And even the word America is synonymous with the United States of America, even though Canada technically is already in America, North America. So Canada, you're great. We love your food, your French influence, and Pamela Anderson. Thank you.
This is terrible. This is where Ronnie's outside the box thinking goes terribly wrong because it's obvious that Mexico is our sidekick and not Canada.
Mexico's no one's sidekick,
Canada
sir.
is the worst, and all the people that they have made us endure over the years. The best one being probably Howie Mandel. Okay, he's like the only one that you can really stand up for. And otherwise, Mexico is way better. Okay, and Tex-Mex definitely is much better than poutine. They're not even our sidekick, yo. They're like you said, like I mean, like no one. I don't even. Are they a country still? Like, nah, dude. Like it's Mexico all the way, bro. That's a terrible number 2.
Ronnie, fantastic number 2.
Thanks, Ryan.
Really coming through with these great answers this round. This might be your best podcast so far. I mean, you're kind of killing it. I mean, they've got a city in Canada called Whitehorse, and I've got a great fucking story involving Chip Beamer and saying Whitehorse a bunch. But that's for another day, I guess. I mean, some of the best people in the world are Canadians. I mean, you already said the Machine, the legend, Sidney Crosby, best hockey player of all time. I mean, Alanis Morissette, fucking right. I mean, just laying down fucking tracks. The Biebs. I mean, they've got everything up there. Fantastic number 2, Ronnie. So, hats off to you, sir.
I'm not agreeing with Sidney Crosby just because this is a Washington Capitals household, but I will add Ryan Reynolds to the list. Can't have Deadpool without Ryan Reynolds. They've got great health care. I love Nova Scotia. Gorgeous vistas. Go out anytime you can. But I always think about...
Ed Norton would have been a good Deadpool.
Who?
Ed
Norton. That's true. But
he's from Baltimore. He's not from Canada.
And hockey really didn't start until Russians started to play it.
True.
Dude, Avril Lavigne is from fucking Canada.
Avril Lavigne, can't.
Avril Lavigne. I mean,
Right,
thank God for Canada.
Skater boy, let's move
Jim
on.
Carrey, Mike Myers.
No, let's talk about Avril Lavigne for a little bit more.
Jim Carrey, the hockey player?
Yeah. The only
Cavs.
problem with Canada, though, is Nickelback. They did bring us Nickelback, so screw
Dude,
you.
Nickelback's pretty good, bro.
I have to agree with Ryan on that one. I don't understand how people can either like and appreciate Nickelback or hate them with the passion and fire of 1,000 Suns. It's like to each their own, but I'm with Ryan on that one.
Well, I had to listen to Nickelback nonstop when I lived with DJ Zito. He was just telling me how much like Chad Kroger or whatever his name is relates to him, and he would always bring in these bottles, and he would sing that song like, "You're the bottom of the bottle," you're whatever, you know, that song Nickelback sang was. So it sucks.
Bottom of the bottle?
Yeah.
From Smile Empty Soul?
What?
So do you have a hatred of Nickelback and you weren't even listening to Nickelback?
Yeah, well,
Smile Empty Soul.
It's
not even
look
the
at
same
this
song.
photograph. Every time I look, it makes me laugh. I mean, that is just a terrible song. It's DJ's favorite song. So I have to hate it because DJ hates me.
DJ does hate you. So let's move it on to Danny for his number 2. Unless you want to say anything about Avril Lavigne or Nickelback.
No, we're bringing it back around here to very, very solid number 2. Let's get back on track to the best list for a reason. All right. And I hope you can see that one, everybody. That is Dwight K Schrute from The Office. Yes, this man is such a good assistant that he had to be his own assistant. You got this guy Jim out there just flaunting it, you know, acting a fool all the time, getting all the attention. But when you're at work, you should be at work. When you want an assistant, that's the assistant that I want. I will pull out the yellow plan and let Dwight Schrute handle any situation. So for my number 2, Dwight K Schrute, everybody.
I'm gonna agree. It's probably who you want as a sidekick. Someone that just worships you and does whatever you say all the time and enforces any stupid rules that you come up with. So as far as sidekicks go, it's probably a good sidekick. Allie, any thoughts?
I agree 100% because I am an assistant. So I aspire to be Dwight Schrute in my everyday professional life, up to and including making sure all of, fire safety and fire codes are are up to date and keeping everybody on their toes.
Yeah, this is a great pick, Danny. Dwight Schrute, unlike the con job Jim Halpert, was a dedicated employee to Dunder Mifflin, to Michael Scott. He did everything he could to make Michael Scott look great, which is what a sidekick does. He aspired to be the best paper salesman, unlike Jim Halpert. He really, was just a eccentric fellow. He was very meticulous, sometimes over the top with his methods, but that's because he cared so much, which is what makes a great sidekick. Great pick, Danny.
If you can get somebody to pee for in a drug test for you, you got yourself a good sidekick.
There you go.
All right, well, I'm going to go to my number 2, who's probably the best TV character of all time. Definitely shouldn't be a sidekick, but he is one. So for my number 2, I'm going with the Prince of all Saiyans, Vegeta. I mean, Vegeta playing second fiddle to some low-class piece of trash like Kakarot is a complete joke. I mean, he's 2-0 in his fights against Goku. He has way better character development. I mean, he has cooler moves than Goku, and everyone is always saying that Goku wins all the fights. That's because he's showing up for the fight 4 days late. I mean, Vegeta's in there the whole time, getting fouled, putting points on the board. Then Goku just shows up, makes the last shot, and is the hero. I mean, Vegeta's the only reason the Z Fighters beat Cell, while Goku was fucking dead. And his wife is hotter, and she's less of a bitch. So that's why Vegeta is my number 2. Allie, any thoughts on Vegeta?
I agree with you 100%.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
All right. I got some thoughts. This is a terrible pick. Vegeta constantly gets his ass kicked by every villain. This guy has his head so far up his ass. Every time he has the upper hand, he decides to give it back to the villain so they can get stronger and then just kick his ass worse than it has been kicked by the previous villain. He did it against Cell. He did it against Boo. He did it against Frieza again in Super. The guy can't ever surpass the guy who he's allegedly the sidekick to. And he doesn't even want to be a sidekick to because he hates his guy that he's the sidekick to, or I don't know, main protagonist. He hates him. And the hallmark of a good sidekick, other than a roundhouse kick, which is the best sidekick, one of the best sidekicks, is you have to amplify how great the other guy is. And he's always hating on Goku and calling him an idiot, when in reality, Goku has saved Vegeta's life, which Vegeta has admitted several times, constantly. And so he's a terrible sidekick. He's unappreciative of all the things Goku has given him, like Earth and a place to live. So, terrible pick. Vegeta, stop getting your ass kicked, bro.
Yeah, thank goodness that I don't know anything about this person, because they've talked way more than enough about this thing. So.
I'm with you, Danny. That's why I disagreed with Ryan.
Well, Allie, you're absolutely correct. So we're going to go for you for your number 1, best sidekick of all time.
All right. My all-time favorite sidekick, number 1, coming out of the Marvel movies, Groot. Sidekick to Rocket in Guardians of the Galaxy. Groot is, I don't want to say a man of few words because he's a treat, but he keeps it simple and to the point. Through all of Rocket's antics, from trying to steal a guy's leg, breaking out of jail. Groot is there helping him no matter what. He's very, forward thinking, taking initiative, and willing to sacrifice himself for his number 1 guy and the team. And I love the character development through all of the Avengers movies and the Marvel series.
Yeah, this is a good pick. Groot, very integral part of the Guardians of the Galaxy. In the initial movie, he was an adult, and obviously he sacrificed himself, like you said. He was more mellow.
He didn't die. He didn't die, so he's a good sidekick.
He didn't, but he turned into a baby for the next few movies. But he was more of a calm, cool, collected character in the first movie. And then the second movie, he was a little bit of a child and very, very petulant and didn't want to listen to anyone, but his heart was always there. And the heart of a great sidekick is to come in and step up when you need him the most. And even in Infinity War, when Thor needed him, when Stormbreaker was being made, and there's Peter Dinklage lost the handle for some reason. I don't know how you do that, but Groot came in and helped him out, and it was a good pick. I like Groot.
Yeah, man. This is a good one. Baby Groot, excuse me, is a very cute character as well, and hilarious. I thought, like, a great opening to that movie, to the second one. I mean, so definitely a good pick for number one. I echo a lot of what you guys already said.
This is a fantastic pick. He has the most, important characteristic of any sidekick, which is expendability. I mean, he can't really die, so you can just throw him in front of you to get blasted and killed over and over again. It'll just come back as a baby, as long as, like, one piece survives, right?
Right.
So, I mean, anytime you can let your sidekick die, that's what's up. So, fantastic number one.
Number one.
So, Ron.
All right. Because of my number one, as I had said, the best aspect of the sidekick, other than the roundhouse kick, is you amplify the guy you're the sidekick to, or gal you're the sidekick to. And mine is none other than this week's host, Ryan John, number one sidekick in my list. To me, I've never even attempted eating contests before, but Ryan's always there to lose on purpose, I'm assuming. To me, winning eating contests left and right. He also loses to me in every competition that we've ever had. Especially Marvel vs. Capcom. I married Monica, and she told me the reason she married me is because I handedly beat Ryan at Marvel vs. Capcom, and it was so cool. So Ryan, you make me look great, but I'm not the only one you make look great. You used to be Danny's sidekick and probably still are. I'm sure Danny's got a lot of great stories about how you've helped amplify him. And of course, Conus. I mean, legendarily, you're Conus' sidekick. And Martin and Kelly's at WVU. So you've been a great sidekick to me, Ryan. I appreciate all the things you've done to make me look super cool. I'm the coolest person I know, and that's thanks to you. Appreciate it, Ryan.
Great number one. I'm glad somebody put him on the list. He was on. I was like, I just couldn't find the right picture. I would say sidekick from the beginning. It's my boy right there. Always there for me to absorb my shit. You know what I'm saying? When and lose to me. Again, on purpose, I'm sure, in all basketball games as we were growing up and all the sporting events. Ryan, man, you built so many people up. I hope that your ego and has built up as it should be because of that.
This is a fantastic number one, Ronnie. I mean, I wish you still had that picture up so you could see the shirt I'm wearing for one of my other
McDaniel.
I was wearing my McDaniel basketball shirt for the time that I was Joe Hunter's sidekick.
That's right.
McDaniel. I mean, I'm just always going in there, taking one for the team to make my boys look better, making a fool out of myself, being creepy around girls, doing whatever it takes, to push my boys up a little bit, So just fantastic, number one. And I'll just pass on that. Yeah, it's good.
Ronnie, you hit the ball out of the park on this one because I can attest from Mrs. Hawkins' kindergarten AM class, Ryan and Eric, you know him as Conus, I know him as Eric, they were inseparable. Throughout elementary school, it was always Ryan and Eric. And we haven't really hung out much as adults, but I kind of Facebook stalk everybody on occasion, and I see this core group, and Ryan is always at the center of it. So awesome pick, 100% love it.
Thanks for making us all look great, Ryan.
You got it, guys. And good for you.
We really should have saved that one till the end, I feel like, because now mine's not going to be as good, even though it's still a good number one. But I'm still going to do mine, though. I'm sorry, Ryan. I have to put mine up there. And I'm sure Ryan can almost guess what this is going to be. But yes, everybody. That's Walter Sobchak from The Big Lebowski. Yes, he is the friend, the best friend, and I think importantly with a sidekick, the sidekick doesn't have, they can be have the dominant personality, but he goes so well with the dude. It's such a perfect match. He's pulling guns out all the time, which I think is hilarious. He's a decorated a vet. He's the sidekick when you need him. He packs heat in with his undies. It's just great sidekick. I love that movie. Him yelling at Donnie is still one of the funniest parts of the movie when he's just yelling "Shut the fuck up, Donnie" all the time. But yeah, Walter is my number one. Yeah.
Danny, it's a good pick, man. It's a good pick. I mean, Walter is somebody that every group needs. I mean, you always need that wild card in there that's going to shake shit up. And I mean, you always want to have the craziest person in the room on your side. So when shit goes down, they're on your team. So that's why every time I walk into a bar, I find the weirdest looking person. Like, I'm going to go hang out with that guy. Because if shit goes down, I don't want him turning against me. I mean, so fantastic number one, fantastic character. Good picks all around. I'm liking this week. So, Allie, any thoughts on The Big Lebowski's Walter?
Y'all are gonna hate me. I've never seen The Big Lebowski. I've seen plenty of memes. I know some of the characters, but I've never actually sat down and watched the movie. But I love John Goodman. I love him pulling out random guns and cursing. So you can't go wrong with anything having to do with John Goodman.
That's one you got to check. I will say that.
I'm working on it.
Yeah, I like this pick a lot. John Goodman's done a lot of stuff in Hollywood, but for me, he's always Walter. I don't think they could have picked a better person to play him. He just has that booming voice and just the best attitude you could have, and the movie is infinitely funnier because of him. And it's already a funny movie to begin with, so it's a great pick.
All right, so good number ones all around. Now let's get into my number one, which is definitely the best sidekick of all time. I can't believe no one said him yet. Of course, I'm talking about Genie from Aladdin. I mean, I haven't seen the new one, so I'm going with the Robin Williams one, not Will Smith. I mean, first of all, this guy gets a smoking hot babe like Jasmine to fall in love with a douche like Aladdin. I mean, the guy doesn't even have any nipples. I mean, come on. I mean, he's pretty much the funniest guy in the world. So it's pretty much like having Sinbad flying around you, cracking jokes all the time. He saves Aladdin's life when he's drowning. And I mean, this guy is always there to help whenever you need him. I'm sitting there playing Kingdom Hearts, getting my ass kicked by the Heartless. Then bam, guess who shows up to save the day? My old pal Genie. And I mean, what's better than having a sidekick that can grant you any wish you want? So, I mean, that's why he is the ultimate sidekick and my number one. Allie, any thoughts on Genie?
100% with you. I haven't seen the new one either, just because I feel like that's a detriment to Robin Williams' legacy. Nothing against Will Smith, but Genie will forever be Robin Williams. And you hit the nail on the head as far as him being the best sidekick.
Yeah, this is a great pick. The movie Aladdin would have stunk without Genie being played by Robin Williams in it. Perfect person to play that character. I didn't see the live action one. I'm not sure if Will Smith did a good job or not, but I'm just referring to the animated one because that's my favorite. Yeah, and you think about it, the song, it's even acknowledged that Aladdin's never had a friend like him because Genie's the best. And it wasn't that monkey that was hanging around. Aladdin, whatever the monkey's name was. Yeah, that monkey stunk. He wasn't as cool as Genie. So great pick, Ryan. And Aladdin did the right thing and let him go at the end.
Yeah, I mean, I think Jasmine's sidekick was a fucking tiger in that movie, which is badass as well. Yeah, I mean, Genie Robin was. I did see the live action one, The only way they could have done justice is that they would have brought Sinbad in to do the live action, and they disrespected Sinbad, didn't even offer him the part, gave it to fucking Will Smith. I don't get it. You know what I'm saying? Like, Sinbad could have done some justice, but no, Robin Williams is Genie. Obviously, like, I'm not as big on like these live action. They're kind of like, they freak me out a little bit. You know what I'm saying? I watched a Lion King one the other day. I'm like, what is happening? Like, I don't know. Was in like the whole general theme, I think, is sometimes missed. I think my daughter was more freaked out than enjoying it. So, but yeah, no, I think that Genie is obviously a very good sidekick when you're talking about somebody that can grant wishes. I mean, can't have much better than that.
Well, that wraps up our this week of top fives. I mean, we always end on an ethical question posed by none other than Ronnie Dar. Ronnie, do you have an ethical question for us this week?
I do have an ethical question. Has to do with stuff that's in the news these days, in particular fake news. Is it ever ethical or okay to knowingly spread fake news? We'll usually start with our guests. So go ahead, Allie. And
I'm going to go with no, just because I know a lot of dumb people that will believe anything that they read or hear. So if you know you have fake news, don't spread it. Just speak the truth. And that's it.
Go ahead, Ryan.
I'm going to say no. I mean, we're all part of this text chain, and I think you guys can attest that we're just getting bombarded by fake news from Connor Beamer nonstop. I mean, I don't want to check my phone every minute because he's lying about the weather, saying there's going to be 6 inches of rain. It didn't rain 6 inches, asshole. I mean...
Yeah, I mean, constant between fake news Beamer over there and fake news Zito, you know what I mean? These two guys just try to control the content that we take in, every day. There are Fox News, and I just, I'm not a big fake news person, you know what I mean? Like, down with the fake news, man. Bring me the truth. Bring me those Katie Ledecky stories with chocolate milk on her head every single day.
Hey, guys, I'm going to have to disagree with all of you. You're incorrect. In fact, my actual number one of this week's sidekick is fake news. Fake news has helped propel people to unfathomable wealth. Every rich person has been lying to you and lying to people constantly. They tell you things that aren't true at all just to get you to do stuff to make them money. It's all bullshit. Don't listen to anyone, but fake news is the greatest sidekick of all. How about that?
That was definitely a surprise by Ronnie. As always, very surprising. I want to thank everybody for watching this week. I want to encourage everybody to go to our Facebook page, Top 5 Everything, and call out Ronnie Dar for turning down my my competition that I challenged him in, and he turned it down. So everybody get on there and blast Ronnie for being a pussy and turning it down and depriving you of what could be an amazing documentary of a challenge between us. So definitely hit up Ronnie. His name is Jabron Dar, lives in Brookville. I'll get you an address later so you can bombard his house with letters. I know Drew Brees already has it, so Allie, I want to thank you so much for coming on this week.
Hey, thanks for having me, guys. I appreciate it.
Delightful guest. Thanks for doing so much research. And it was great seeing you and hanging out again.
Hey, you too. Thank you,
guys.
Do
you have any words you want to end with?
Hey, thanks for not shooting down all my picks. I hope, on volume 31, 32, you guys asked me back. This was a lot of fun. I appreciate it.
We're going to definitely do that. So we're just going to sign off now. Thanks, everybody, for watching this week. See you next week for week 15.
See ya.
Bye.
See you, Allie.